Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the delay. For some reason, I was trying to do my live and came up with an error message and tried it again, but all is well now. As Tammy stated, tonight it's a bit of a follow-up to Design the Perfect Life, but it's more in details in reference to the title speaks for itself, where the successful one-on-one training, and there's 4 week follow-up on that. There's 4 sessions, and this is week one out of the 4 weeks we're going to be talking about, which is the foundation of success. So, Tammy, just go ahead because I know I interrupted you earlier, so please take over.
Yeah, so we're doing a 4 week session here on the Success Formula 101, and you're going to get a lot of content. So make sure you take notes. This is week one, obviously. And but last week we went through the designing the life that you truly want to live. What does it look like? Did anybody follow through and do at least start it part of the process? Okay, wonderful. Okay, I highly recommend to go back and do that. And if you didn't go through the recording, go back to the recording. Sometimes we just have to be in our element and we got to stop and start. Some people like to sit down at night when it's quiet and they get their stuff done. Some people are early morning people and they like to spend some time doing that. That's the time to do that. I mean, Scott, you got the greatest backyard to sit out there and really get tuned in on, what really matters. You know what I mean? So these are the things that we all need to go back to. Everything's about going back to the basics, right? What's the foundation of it all? Is at the end of the day, it's what you truly want to do in your life. Be, do, have. What do
Yeah,
you
I
want to
agree.
be? What are you going to do about it? And when you have it, what are you going to do? Be, do, have, right?
Living in the Maritimes or even in Quebec City, I mean, there's so many beautiful. Not that Toronto is not nice,
Mm.
but it's a different world out there, right? It's nice just to go sit and just kind of reflect on some of the things we're going to talk about because I know it seems like uh, like a drag to go through this to these things to these steps, but they're really really important. And the fact is, often I sit back and I say, what is it that Tammy and I do that give us the success in this business? Are we just lucky? It's just because we're first? What is it? It's really none of these things. It's the fact that we design exactly what we want. I'm sure Alice actually could relate. You've designed quite a bit of, and it's really really important, and that's why we're spending time with this. And it's really in these 4 weeks, there's topics that we'll cover, and again, this is the foundation of success. So what we're going to do here is going to have a 3 topic on how to build a solid foundation to achieve ultimate success in our lives. And honestly, obviously, we're building our network marketing business, right? Whatever that is for you, right? Max has been an incredible blessing in our lives, and the products they're more needed than ever, right? And I know there's a lot of things that are going on out there. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you choose to do. It really defines it really is determined. Your results will always be determined by how you organize yourself as a foundation and then executing. And throughout these weeks, we're going to go through the execution. Now, it's entirely up to you. See, Tammy and I do these sessions, and we it's going to be utilized for our podcasts. And our podcasts are growing in popularity, actually, which I'm very proud of. So these training segments are utilized there also. So we're all reaching the general public, but we really want to create this information or share this information with you. So there is a logical train of thought. There's a logical process as to why we tend to have success. Regardless of what we do, we sit down and we design exactly what we want. So what we're going to be covering here is under 3 topics today is understanding success. I know it seems kind of obvious, but I think it's important to define it, right? Setting clear goals. And I know we've talked about this, but again, we'll cover some of the basics. And of course, time management and productivity. This is something that most people do not realize, but the amount of time that people waste doing things that are completely useless I'm trust me, I'm guilty of that too. I don't put myself in exclusion of that. It's an enormous, and I catch myself often with TikTok, getting into the politics and getting into, and Tammy reminds me, Chris, you're wasting your time. I know I am. Right. So it's important to recognize some of those things. And once you have a plan that's laid out in front of you, you recognize these things. There's some things we can do and change, and there's some things that we can't change. But at the end of the day, what you focus on expands. So always remember that. So we're going to start with understanding success. So there's definition of success, there's a professional aspect of success, and the personal aspect of success. So tell me, would you go ahead and cover the personal?
All right. So last week we did the design, right? So this is absolutely perfect for those who did that. They're gonna, really align to this one. And if you haven't, go back to it. But you really gotta design what your personal success looks like. Success is often subjective and varies from person to person. Of course, we all have different desires and dreams. It refers to achieving personal goals, attaining a sense of fulfillment, which is the ultimate goal, right? And leading to the life that we always want, the values that we have in our life. It's all different for every single one of us. We all have unique blueprints. And this is what you got to take the time to design. Most people, they do not take the time in their lives for the most important thing in their life, which is retirement. What does that look like for you? If we're young, we think, oh, we got lots of time. And then you realize it goes really fast. You guys know how fast it goes. And if you didn't take the time to do this, and it's never too late, don't ever say it's too late. Ever, ever, ever. There's always time to create where you're in the space of where you are now, and in your 2 year and your 5 year, and kind of write that all out. And so like some examples, we put some examples there, is maintaining good health and well-being. I mean, that's common sense. I go the extra mile because I'm just a doer. So I don't want to just have good health and well-being. You got to really define that. What does that look like for you? Because it's going to look totally different for all of us if we wrote it down. What does that look like for you? Maintaining good health and well-being. So take the time building and sustaining meaningful relationships. Look at all of us here that are on this platform, the relationships, the laughter, the crying we had together, the challenges we've had together, the ups and downs. I mean, you name it, we've been through it all together. Does that bond us in such a big way? It's absolutely huge. We're lifetimers, every single one of us. We're lifetimers together. And that's the kind of relationships we want to build with the people we meet. And pursuing hobbies and interests. I mean, every single one of us should do something outside of our work environment, outside of our relationships, just to be grounded and be happy. Do something for yourself. If you like to paint. I know Alice is doing beautiful stuff. There's things that I've put aside for work that I sit back and go, you know what, I really love doing this stuff. I should get back to doing that. Just, put it in my schedule and have it and do it once in a while, part-time. And of course, achieving personal growth and self improvement. Always growing, you guys. That's the key, is
I agree.
always grow.
I agree. And the fact is, when Tammy things mentioned that there's not a lot of time, it's really interesting. But this weekend, yes, I sat with my dad, and I mean, life is just like a flash. And some things that I'm not taking care of is, for example, I love kayaking, and I just it's kind of went on the side. We haven't kayaked at all this year whatsoever, which is unfortunate because we can do it in Florida. We didn't do it. Now we're here. We have a beautiful lake in Ontario where we live. We haven't done it yet. And we're talking about, but these are things that you need to plan, because if you don't plan it, I'm telling you, you're just going to skip it. So this is very, very important. When it comes to your health, I just want to add to this. I see some of the mistakes that my dad did, and I remember when they were being done decades ago, and now my dad's living the residual of that. Where I see my mom, where we're walking, where she's super sharp, she's alert, she's like she was 20, 30 years ago. There's no difference. Obviously, she's aging like we all do, but my dad, on the other hand, it's is dealing with a dementia, and it's becoming, more and more and more. But it's under control because we have some great supplements. But at the end of the day, that's important, right? We may not think it's important today, but if you don't take care of it today, you will pay for it later. So going back to the professional, right? Success involves achieving career. So this is, rank recognition, significant contribution into your profession, and which will define your results. Some examples of that is attaining a career milestone. There was a time where when I was a software engineer, I had these career milestone I wanted to achieve. I've done that, but I realized that is that all there is, and I started recognizing, I think there's more to life than that. And I went to freelance within the network marketing environment, and then it was reaching the pin ranks. We've reached these pin ranks, and then it was reaching the income levels. We've done that, and of course, there's always space for improvement. Don't get me wrong, but the bottom line is that we're constantly evolving, we're constantly changing, we're adapting. Whatever situation is occurring, we don't sit back and complain about who moved my cheese. We turn around, okay, well, let's find another big slut of cheese and let's focus on that one now because, things are changing, the economy's changing, the environment's changing. So how are you inspiring yourself to effectively adjust to the professions or to the environment that we are in today? So these two aspects of definition of success, what does that mean to you when it comes to your professional life? Which don't think that that's important. It's not important because it's really important, because at the end of the day, that's what you look at in the mirror every day. And then your professional life, which will have obviously a strong impact into your personal life. So take the time to go through this. Um, so I've covered so many examples. So now the key attributes of successful individuals, right? What's important, and this is something that is absolutely critical. You've heard Tammy and I say this often in many of our training segments. And I know sometimes it may seem repetitive, but there's a reason why it's repeated. It's clarity and vision. It's very important, right? Is to have what we call SMART goals that are specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're relevant, they're time bound. And of course, things can evolve. But we talked about that on our previous session. If you did not listen to the previous training, I do recommend you go to it on designing the perfect life, because we talked about the SMART goals into more details, which I'm not going to go here. But having clarity and vision is important. Where there is no vision, people perish, right? One of our mentors in the past, Stephen K. Scott, used to mention that. Where there's no vision, people perish. So the fact here is that that was a very good statement. And it's not just him that said that. A lot of people have said that. Jim Rohn was one of my ultimate mentor, which I never met. Tammy had an opportunity to meet him. I never met him. But the point is that he has majorly made an impact on me. Okay, so that's important. Have clarity as to what you desire in life, because if you don't, you'll end up, and I know again, I'm repeating what you've heard before, but you'll end up in someone's dream. You're fulfilling someone else's dream for you to earn an income, because you don't really have a dream. You're fulfilling someone else's. So it's important that you're clear on that. Back to you, Demi.
Yeah, because when that's clear, you guys, the second one here that I'm going to share, it's going to be a lot easier to go through this, which is persistence and resilience. That is built, I'm telling you, because we've been through it all. And it's the determination to persevere. And it's not easy. There's days that you just don't have the energy and you just do two more steps. That's it. Do one step more. And, yeah, sometimes we have to push ourselves a little bit. And then once we've done it, you guys know what I'm talking about. How many times have you didn't want to go to the gym, you did your workout, and you feel like $1,000,000 after? Same thing in business, same thing. When you persevere and you're resilient, overcoming objections and any of these setbacks, you handle it in a different way than most people, which is always in a positive in general. And they have a strong growth mindset and the great attitudes, those who do this really, really well. And that is these are practice skills, for sure.
Now, I just shared with you a link. I'm sharing you my notes here, guys. So we're completely transparent here. So our research is all there. Okay. Our points that we're covering, it's all there. It's to give you also an example that some of you, you are building a team in your business, that's an example of how we organize ourselves on preparing for our training. Okay. Sometime we'll have some slides. Sometime you're just going to see our beautiful faces, if I may say. Okay, so in this case, you can just go ahead and see this as you see fit. You can take some notes. I do recommend it, and you can also cut and paste whatever we wrote over here. The other thing that's very important is self-discipline, right? Is to maintain focus, consistency. That is probably one of the most common denominator that I see among folks that are not getting the results they're looking for. They're not focused and not consistent in doing the activities that they started doing with an enormous amount of motivation, but along the way they lost that, right? So it's very important is to also manage your time where you choose to focus. Prioritize the things, we'll come back to that a little later, that is in line with what you desire, what you want to achieve. Back to you, Tammy.
And continuous learning. This is absolutely important. Always learning, always growing. That's the mindset we've always had. Coming into network marketing, didn't understand or knew anything in this type of industry. Give me a piece of fabric, I'll make you look fabulous. But coming into this industry, I had to learn a lot of new skills, like a lot of you, right? We just come from different industries, and is the key to constantly learn and grow. Prioritize that. That's got to be lifelong. I would say, Chris, in the last year, the skills that I've learned, I would never have learned had pandemic not taken place. So I'm not grateful that that happened. I'm grateful that I had taken the time through that process, because honestly, not everybody did anything through that time. Lots of people got caught up in things that did nothing to serve them at all. Where the skills, I think about it now, and I look at it as I'm training new people coming aboard. I'm realizing, wow, I've come a long way. And it's not to toot my horn, it's because I made a decision to be a lifelong learner and learning some new skills. So now I have skills under my belt that I can go a lot further now than I ever did before pandemic.
So
So
the other, well, sorry, go ahead.
continuous learning, you guys, that's the absolute key.
Yes. Now the other thing is adaptability, right? Is to be flexible, open to change. This is so, so important. And I'm a type, like I'm a person, I'm a systematic guy. I'm not a fan of change because when you do change, I mean, you change my system, you change my process, you change my daily operation. So I'm not a fan of change. When I make a decision, I'm committed all the way to the end. And when there's a change, I gotta adjust again, right? But the point is, I am adaptable and I will adapt, as difficult as this may be. And sometimes when you adapt, not everybody will agree on how you go about it. But I assure you, I have a plan. Is this design? I know exactly where we're going. I know what's going to happen. I understand what the end results will be based on my efforts. And even if I turn around and there's some issues here and issues there, people quit, people do this, people do that, whatever, it's okay. I still have that track. I still have that goal. In fact, it's really interesting. I forgot Tommy who said that recently. Oh, it was Dr. Asari. We had a session with him recently, and he said, "I remember what you told me when you started your business with Max. All the people that were in that group, they're all gone. If you look at the book, what was it
Oh,
called?
the first magazine. Yeah, success.
Working from
Yeah.
home, Success Magazine.
Yeah, you and
If you
I are
look at it,
standing
there's a few people. There's some that are dormant and still earning a residual income, but they've been there, like
retired.
Jim Fitzpatrick and others. But I would say that 90% of folks, they're not there. But we kept going. So it's just an example of adaptability and being consistent and congruent. And that's what most people, I believe, fail in this particular aspect. Back to you, Tammy.
Which leads to a strong work ethic, right? Is to keep going, stay committed, be that person that serves. At the end of the day, network marketing is about serving. You know, it's not about you coming in and making money. If you can't help people move and grow, then you're not going to grow, period. So when you bring people in, you got to take care of them. These are the ones that will always thrive in our profession. They're always going above and beyond to
Yeah.
achieve anything, no matter what it is. I mean, Chris and I created systems to free up our time a bit, but to give people roadmaps on how to build this profession, right? And just recently, I had a very beautiful comment from one of our partners, and I'm grateful because it's nice to get the feedback because they had said that they never really looked at the boards and they were blown away after taking time to actually look at it on how much content and how much structure there in this, and that they're so grateful. I mean, when did we start the boards in Max? A long time ago, right? So it's nice to have the feedback, knowing going forward, the foundation is there and
So
the
it goes down
system
to this
is there.
point, which is effective communication also.
Exactly.
This is a really, really important aspect. That's an important skill. And for example, today I had a kind of opportunity to speak with Jonathan Fletcher,
Mhm.
and the max one is, according to him, between 7 days to 9 days of being delivered. And I know there's a huge demand for the max one. I love the max one. I miss it so much. So, he was telling me how many thousands of units that we have for Canada, the Philippines, all over the world. So the fact here is everything is coming back together. But again, are you adapting to the changes? I have new customers coming in. There's things that I'm doing that are maintaining my business, and our income is growing. It was nice because it grew by a few $1,000s because of what is going on. The products are coming in. Some people are engaging. I have new customers. It's you stay
Promotion.
Yeah, stay connected and keep moving forward. But the communication is absolutely critical. And by the way, next week I'm going to invite Jonathan Fletcher to share some of the very exciting positive updates when it comes to our tools, when it comes to our websites, when it comes to our products available and everything else. So everything is coming together. I just love this guy. He's very result oriented. I have a lot of respect for folks that are result oriented. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, and of course, integrity is a big part of it. It's all about building strong relationships, right? Successful individuals maintain high ethical standards, and it's about gaining trust and respect from the field. Will you get along with everybody? No. There's some people you do your best and you're never good enough. And I'm for me, I just let things go so easily. I think the older I get, the easier it gets. I don't know if you guys notice that. You just let go of what you can't control, right? You just got to keep moving and serve the people who
Yeah, that's true.
who are happy and grateful and want the support.
Yeah, it's interesting because as you get older, you realize that why
Yeah,
waste so much time and energy on something you can't control? Just let go, move on,
yeah, it's
right?
so true.
But
Yeah,
the outcome
meet
is that
new people.
yeah, you'll have a very clear and personalized definition of success for you. This is really important, folks. Take the time to do this. That portion we just covered, if you take the time to do this, it could have impact your life in ways that you've never seen before because you
Mhm.
have clarity of what matters to you when it comes to your personal success and the business aspect of it. And that what's important is that again, it'll be aligned with your goals and vision statement if you do have one. But the key that's important here is to focus on the activities and to stay focused on these activities that are in line with the goals that are in line with what matters to you as far as what success is to you when it comes to your personal life and when it comes to your business life. So let's move on to setting clear goals, Tammy.
Yeah, so you were going to do
That
that
was me
part.
that would do that.
Yeah,
That's correct.
yeah.
So in this case, SMART goals, again, we talked about definition is goals, SMART goals, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So this is the framework that you need to work within as you are setting your goals. I know that sometimes we're going to hear some leaders that says, whatever your goal is multiplied by 4. That's not wrong. This is to have the long-term vision, to have because we tend to, it's really interesting if I work with someone that have a mentality, maybe a bit of a poor mindset mentality when it comes to money, and they really have the budget they could have, but because of their mindset, their budget is so constrained based on what they believe they're worth. And that's the reason why often Eric will turn around, will take that goal multiplied by 4. It's for that reason. But in the same time, if you reach your goal, like, hey, I want you to reach the moon. Okay, that's wonderful. It's a wonderful dream, but I don't think I'm going to go actually reach the moon. but I can certainly do some other things. And that's what I'm saying. So it has to be relevant, has to be achievable, measurable, and it also you have to give yourself a time frame. That's very important. So in this case, going to long term versus short term goal. You go ahead with the short term, Tammy.
Yeah, so I'll go with the short term because when setting goals it's really important to have short term goals. And sometimes the simplest things, so you can have something that you can check off your list, right? It's important. And that's what builds confidence and belief in achieving. So for example, some of the short term would be to get prime, to become prime. If you had been prime before and you're not prime qualified, go back and do that, the prime, and make that happen. That's a short term, and then you set a time limit. When are you going to achieve prime again? And that would be a short term goal. Any stepping stone is a short term goal. And I'm talking about business because we can also, short term goals you could set for your own personal life too. Some of the little things you want to do. For example, you want to start running, but you can't run. You can start doing small things, right? That will lead up to the bigger things. Sit ups, push ups, you name it. You don't just go out and do push ups when you never done push ups before. You're going to start against the wall. You're just going to lean against the wall and you're going to start like that. And then you're going to build your strength, and then you're going to do it from your knees, and then you're going to build your strength. And this is what it is, you guys. You got to start with the short term, but also you have to have something. What's the bigger picture of all of this? What does that look like in the end goal? Okay. And so Chris is going to talk about that, because these short-term mini milestones are going to lead you into the big stuff.
It's what keeps you honest. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you get into the long-term goals, which you do need, because you do need to have some direction as to where you're going when all of this is done. But the fact is, for example, if you go back to the health aspect that Tammy was talking about, and you have a hard time doing some of the basic things because the body doesn't perform that way anymore, don't use that as an excuse not to do anything at all. Just find some small blocks that you can start doing that can get you into a different aspect so you can live a longer life. Because I'm telling you, the body, there's going to be a time where there's a point of no return. It's not too late for anybody here. So the long-term goal is this is more long-term frame, right? It could be months, it could be years. Maybe there was a certain income that you were at one point that you'd like to get back to. That could be a year, could be 2 years, whatever that is. So set that there, write it down, be specific, have a clear direction towards that goal. Maybe it's more. So the fact here is you want to be able to focus, and it has to be bigger than a short-term goal. But again, don't make it too short or too small that once you achieve them, well, now what? I mean, what else do I have to look forward to? And so this for some time it takes time to reflect on. So the fact here is whatever that is for you. The example is he's become a recognized expert in my field. Well, in her case, at the end of the day, what we want, what I'd like to make, if I may say, I'd like to make $20,000 a month. I'd like to make $15,000, maybe $10,000 a month. Hey, I'd like to make 70,000, 80,000, whatever that is for you. And then from there, you start breaking down. And the thing is, don't think that's not possible because of whatever situation. Don't let these situations get in the way of what your true meaning and true goals are. That's what we do often. I say this is very common. We limit ourselves based on what's going on. Oh, there are going to be more taxes. Don't worry about it. Because I'm telling you that once you make money, you pay less taxes. It's a very interesting country once you understand the system. So the bottom line here is don't worry about these things. There's a lot of people around you that can guide you, give you some feedback based on our experience on doing things. Okay. So back to you, Tammy, and the outcome in achieving setting goals and clear goals.
Absolutely. So the outcome is clarity, you guys. When you set all this up and you take the time, it is so worth it. What you're going to find, your end result is clarity, it's structure. You have a map, You know every single day what you need to do to achieve this if you take the time to do that, whether it's in your personal or your professional life, and you just get that sense of satisfaction that you've achieved, right? To achieve that final outcome, whatever it is. And the accountability is there too. When the structure is laid out, then you're now accountable. Follow a schedule. If you do that, you will see that you'll have more free time than you can ever imagine. The problem is everybody flies life by the seat of their pants. They do not structure anything in their life, and they wonder why the situation in their life is happening right now. And these are great training segments. You guys are lucky Chris is just handing you the notes, because it's work, right? Putting this stuff together takes time and work. And now he kind of laid it in front of you that you don't really have to do anything right now because it's done for you. But take the time to plan your life and your business goals and all of that stuff. It is absolutely critical. So let's go number 3, Chris, time
Yeah,
management and
absolutely. I
productivity.
think I'm going to have an earful tonight on
I
the
think
fact
this
that I
is the
give the
most
notes.
boring one that people find that it's boring,
Yeah.
but this is the one that's going to free you in life.
Yeah.
This is
You,
what's
you
going to free
know,
you.
you know the character that was on my screen behind me here, Yoda. There is no try, do or do not. The reason why I love this, I remember the first time I saw it in Star Wars in 1974 or 70, I forgot when it came out. The bottom line here is I was so impressed by that. I was young, but I was so impressed by that statement. And it stayed with me all these years. And often I hear people, let me try. That is the first obstacle because that means if it doesn't work, well, it doesn't work.
I'll
So
try it. Exactly. If it doesn't
just
work, I
do it,
won't do it. Yeah.
right? There's no such thing as try. Do or do not. And I just love that. Just thought of mentioning because I saw the little picture a moment ago. So the fact is going back to the quadrants, and I know you guys have seen that. You've heard this before. We've done these trainings before years ago. But again, you just take a full 8.5 page or whatever that is for you, and then draw a line in the center of the page and across the page. Now you have your 4 quadrant. And I would recommend to put all the things that are urgent and important. That's that tasks that requires immediate attention that are critical. If you don't do, you're going to lose your house. Or if you don't do, you're going to lose your car. If you don't do, you're not going to qualify to get a paycheck this month. These are urgent and important. These are the things you have. Who are the people that are my personals that they have to have an order in place? They have to be, let's say, bronze, because if they're not bronze, I don't qualify. These are things that goes into quadrant number 1. Okay. They're urgent and important. It is a crisis. You do not want to live in this environment. It is stressful. It will make you older quicker, that quadrant. So that's the reason why you don't want to spend a lot of time there. But you need to be aware of that so you can prepare spending more time in quadrant 2. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah. So not urgent, but important. What's not urgent, but important? Put in the chat in your Max business. What's not urgent, but it's very important for you to succeed? Put it in the chat. Creating your list, prospecting, inviting, follow up. These are all really, really important things in building your business, right? Signing people up, getting people started right. They're all important things, but they're not urgent, right? So people tend to not spend a lot of time here where you should be spending a lot of time here. So always think of the things that you need to do, and put those in your schedule, right? You can time bound this stuff, which we're probably going to talk after, but tasks that are essential for long-term success, but don't require immediate attention, immediate action. But they do, because that's, if you do this often and consistent, that's when you're going to hit your outcome. So strategy, planning, when it comes to relationship building, skill development, whatever it is that's going to help you, that it's not urgent, but very, very necessary to be on your schedule every single day.
And quadrant number 3, this is urgent but not important. In the early days, we used to say when the phone rings, well, in our case, it will be a text, right? It could be someone calling in at a time that is not important. But because we're accustomed to answer the phone when someone calls in and interrupt whatever it is that we're focusing on, that again, it could be an urgent call that's in quadrant one, but again, you use your common sense on all of that. My point is the majority, it's urgent. It requires your immediate attention, but it is not important. It does not contribute to your goal and what you're trying to do. It's just going to interrupt you, right? So these are very important. And I know that none of you had an opportunity to put anything here as to what's important and urgent for you. And I'm sure we kind of caught you by surprise, and that's totally cool. But the fact here is you should be aware of what's important and urgent and be aware of what's urgent but not important. I'm telling you, the majority of our population spend an enormous amount of time and hours on urgent matters that are not important. But because in their mind, they're not really structured, it's kind of like in French, un pot pourri. What would you say in English for that? It's a mixture of all sort of situation in our lives, but there's no priorities any way, shape, or form. Okay. So you need to structure that. And once you do that, you have some clarity. I'll give you an example. A simple, but man, it feels awesome. In Florida, before we left, about the week before we left, I decided to clear all the clothes that I haven't touched in at least a year. And that was about 80% of what I have, right? And I put all of that into a duffel bag. I brought it in. My son loves all the things that we get from Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, the Philippines, all over the stuff, tons of stuff, right? But you know what I found is by the time I was done, I could see clearly. Oh, look at this. I have so many pair of jeans, same color. Oh, I just happen to have all these nice shirts. I don't have to bring this in Florida anymore. So now when I travel, I can actually travel when I go to Florida with a carry-on. I don't need big suitcase. Right, Tammy? Is that possible? So the fact here is that we can just carry what we need based on things we need every single day because everything is there. But I was able to recognize that through clarity. That's my point. I'm using an example of clothing, but it could be anything when it comes to your life. If you structure your life and start cleaning up all this stuff that you do on a daily basis and start identifying the things that are important, urgent, the things that are not, man, your life could be, you're going to wake up next month and feel, God, I feel so relieved, so much less stress because I got rid of all the things that were heavy that were not important and urgent. Back to you, Tammy.
And that wasn't just hours, you guys. This wasn't, oh, I'm going to take a week off. Just time bound this stuff, right? On your non-working days and stuff like that. Be very diligent with your schedule. If you want to have any type of success and earn income, to have that, whatever it is that you don't have today, to have tomorrow, you have to be really smart about this stuff, you guys. Okay. So, but it is good to clear, to manifest. Very, very important. um it's all about manifestation and attraction and all that stuff too. So quadrant 4, I love talking about this one. Not urgent, not important. Thank you, Lucy. I know everybody's putting some stuff up now. I put just a quick picture of one of my trainings. I just threw it up there. It's pretty simple. This is when you do, this is when you eliminate. Just very simple and clear, and your tasks. So basically, anything that's going to waste your time or is a distraction when you have a goal, that has to be eliminated. It could be eliminated for a short period of time. Okay. Or maybe not eliminated totally, but you get a treat when achieve some milestones, and you get a treat, and you can watch movies Friday night or whatever you want to do, right? And yeah, so social media, it has got to be the biggest distraction out there. If you're on social media, you go for a reason, and that is to get yourself branded and get yourself out there. And congratulations, Erica. You're doing fabulous work in your
I
branding. I
agree.
love your branding. And so getting yourself out there, and it's okay to say no, you guys. It's okay to say no. I know sometimes how people have a hard time because they're such people pleasers. And people pleasers get exhausted. They get exhausted. They burn out because they're not taking care of themselves because everybody else is grabbing a piece of them because they're so easy to talk to, they're understanding, all of this stuff. And pay attention to where you're spending your time. Honestly, if you have any goals in your life and you want to achieve something more than where you're at right now, these are things you got to pay attention to because that four, if you stay in four, then you won't be where you want to be in 6 months, in a year, in 5 years from now, not even close in 10 years, right?
Yeah, 3 and 4 are dream stealers. That's the bottom line.
Oh
One
yeah,
and two, and two
absolutely.
is where you want to spend most of your time because that is what you can avoid crisis and live a good, peaceful life because everything is always done, everything is always there, everything is always ready. That's because you're spending your time in quadrant two. And that's really the message tonight. So
Honestly, the big crisis stuff, Chris, doesn't happen till you go into leadership. At the
it depends,
beginning,
but yes, I agree.
when you're starting to build a foundation, it's more of personal development, right? And but the crisis stuff is in the team building and the leadership development. That's when the bigger things happen. So, just stay focused on the main thing, on what you need to accomplish.
Yeah. The bottom line, it depends on what context you're talking about. It could be your personal life, could be your business life, could be your relationship, could be with your kids, whatever the situation may be for you. So let's move on to the daily planning and time blocking, which is kind of in line what we're talking about, right? So daily planning is involved in organizing your day in advance and ensure you stay on track with your priorities. This is very important. So, Tammy, you want to go through some of the steps?
Yeah. So again, identify the most important tasks that need to be done based on what your goals are right now. Take the time, write down two or three of them, write down one of them, at least you get it started. Take a minute right now, just write it on a piece of paper. Identify the most important task you need to do right now to move forward in your income goal, your rank goal, your personal development goal. Okay, write that down, and you can expand on this stuff. And I said, take the time to do this, and then allocate blocks of time in your schedule for each of these tasks. That's got to be written. Okay, and from there you want to stick to the schedule. This is not easy, but is disciplining yourself to stick to your schedule and reward yourself for it. Okay, don't look at it like punishment. It's not punishment, it's evolving, it's growing personally, it's achieving, it's the outcome, it's the major vision outcome that you want to have. Okay, and then so do the time blocking stuff like that. That's going to help you stay focused, and yeah, and include the breaks, the meals, because you do have to have a life, you guys. And don't be like, if you're a person that's always in front of the screen in your office, you've got to get away from it. You got to go outside, go for a walk, put your feet on the grass, get grounded. It's a nice weather now. Take breaks. You don't have to take hours, but you take a few breaks here and there. Just breathe in the fresh air, let it out, do some breathing techniques, go back in and get another slot done of time tasking, whatever time blocking you're doing. And same thing with your personal activities.
So moving on to the tools productivity, what I did a little bit of a research on apps and methods. You don't need to use them all, but it might be good on your spare time to kind of search them all. Starting with looking at the time management is Todoist. It's basically a to-do list, task management apps that helps you organize, prioritize your tasks. I started looking at it. It's that's interesting, right? Features include projects, organization, deadline, reminders, collaboration. Again, that may or may not apply to you, but again, it's good to know. Trello is another one, visual project management tool using boards, lists, cards, ideal for tracking tasks, projects, workflow. Again, this could be if you depending on what you do in your personal life and different things, different side business you may have. Microsoft To Do, simple and intuitive. task management app, again, integrate with Microsoft Office and things. That could be useful, right? There's Notion. I haven't checked Notion, but it's all in one workspace for notes, tasks, database, collaboration, customizable for customizable. My French is kicking in right now. Customizable for various productivity and needed, right? You don't need to speak perfect to be able to train folks. So the fact here is that's one. There's Focus Booster, right? Against technique app that helps you manage work sessions, breaks, whatever. Again, may or may not apply for you. Rescue Time, right? Time track apps. Could be something interesting, maybe for some of you, right? It maintains the amount of time you're on the phone, chit chatting and doing stuff that could actually minimize the amount of hours you spend in a day doing things that keeps you in quadrant 3 or quadrant 4. Again, it's just an idea. So these are just some apps, and there's a gazillion others that you can find. But it's just what I came up with some of the research I did for this training this evening. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, so if you're looking at the chart that Chris gave you for the notes, methods of enhancing productivity, 2-minute rule, you want to do all those little short tasks, just get them over with and out of the way. And so prevent lots of small tasks from piling up. You can batch process any type of group tasks that you need to do, like even in training. So when you're training somebody the basics, it doesn't have to be one person. You can train a few people at the same time and just spend your time wisely, right? Things that you can do, answering all emails at once, just get it over with, delete the stuff that's not important, get rid of the stuff that's filling up your email box. Get rid of them, unsubscribe to unnecessary stuff that you subscribe to because you were freaking bored, right? So these are the things that you want to do. I know because I've done that stuff. So making phone calls, pick a time slot and go, you know what, I'm doing all my calls at this time, my follow-ups at this time, instead of going, oh, this person wants me to follow up at this time. It's your business. Take control of it, right? So you can say, my time slot is this, and this. Chris and I have schedules, by the way, Calendly. So that's when we're available. That's it. And people book us. Book call with Tammy, book call with Chris.com. And people book us. Those who book us get our time.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Well, an example, Tammy, if I may just tap on that, is Mary Paul booked a session. We had a session this afternoon. She booked it last week. Chris Arthurs booked another one for tomorrow, 11 a.m.
Mhm.
Right. So book call with Chris.com. This is something I've done for me. And I train the people that I work with, where if you want to work with me, instead of trying to wait for me to get back to you, and you don't need to do all of that. Now I have a calendar that will actually populate my calendar, create a Zoom link for me and for you. And it has a reminder that you'll be reminded of this particular session coming up. So again, this is how I train the people around me if they want to work with me. And I'll be happy to do that. And also there's a portion that says what the topic is about, so I can have a proper mind frame and be ready for you when we do our talkings. If there's nothing there, then obviously I'll figure it out. But these are 30-minute time slot, not an hour, 30 minutes. Now, sometimes I may take a few minutes over, but often I will create my schedule around that, right? So again, food for thought.
I'm just typing it in. So book call with Chris.com,
Doesn't mean that you need to book a call
book call
tomorrow,
with
but
Tammy.com.
if you feel it's necessary.
Yeah, if there's something specific that you need to help you grow, and you need that, that mentorship, that hands-on, just book it, because we receive the email and it's booked in our schedule immediately.
And
So,
Tammy, I want to talk about the eat that frog as far as tackle the most challenging tasks
well, let
first.
me go to 1, 2, 3, because that
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
I love the one, or sorry, 1, 3, 5 rule. I love this one. Choose one big task that you're going to accomplish every day. One big task, 3 medium tasks, and 5 small tasks. So maybe the 5 small tasks could be, I want to send 5 friend requests on social media. That could be your daily plan to increase your audience. It could be something like that. 3 medium tasks is to do invites, right, to one of the Thursday night sessions, or invites to the recorded opportunity presentations that are there as well, or anything that's live, anything that you need to do anything that's moving your business forward, and whatever the big task would be, particularly for that day, is could be links. Sending links to you said, you know what, I'm going to do 10 this day. That's it. I'm going to accomplish 10 this day, and I'm not going to stop until I get 10 people. These are the big ones that it's going to be harder to do, but if you do it, how are you going to feel, right? So it's amazing. So I
Now,
like that when I saw that.
now that one that I have, eat that frog, I don't like the expression. I just like the meaning behind it. Is tackle the most challenging task at first. For example, once a month, I have my accounting day, and that takes me a good 2.5 hours to do.
Yeah.
This is when I got income coming from whatever venue that I have. And then I have a list of all my income and all my expenses. And this is how I divide my month and how much I need in Canadian dollars and how much I remain in US. That includes investments, what I choose to do, and investing into this and into that, and paying these bills, these back. And I spend I first thing in the morning. I won't wait till midday or the end of the day because I know I'm not as sharp. I know I don't feel like it. And usually when I do something like that, it ends up the next day because I don't want to do it. This is for me, it's like root canal. I hate it with a passion, but it needs to be done. So the fact here is tackle the most challenging task first thing in the morning when you are fresh. It's amazing how much you can accomplish, especially if you wake up nice, bright, and early. And then once I know how much money I need to convert, then I say, okay, that's how much US I need to do. The market is still open, and I transfer from US to Canadian. And that's done first thing in the morning. When it's done, I feel and then the rest of my day is gravy, right? So I'm building momentum for the rest of my day. So think of it that way when you start planning your days, right? Start dealing with the things that are most annoying, the thickest thing early in the morning, get it done, and then from there move on to the next. And you do the last one, Tammy.
Yeah, and of course, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but digital detox. Walk away from your devices, you guys. You have to. This is the only way we can stay sane in our life, is put stuff on the side and walk away and do something for yourself. Breathing techniques are really good. Thursday, it was so amazing. Because I never seen my daughter do a yoga class, and a couple
Yeah, she was
times
awesome.
we never got a chance to do it, but this time I totally committed. And she also does meditation, and everything was in French. And of course, everybody knows me. I'm not fluent in French. I understand words and I figure it out. And the whole session was in French, and the meditation. And I was just finding the words. I was in my flow, in my game. And then she did like a really good stretching yoga class. Man, we felt amazing after. Things like that is so necessary in life. And after that is, now it's got to be in my schedule. It's got to be a priority. I mean, she lives in Quebec, but there's lots of local stuff around here too, or a Zoom session. I don't even know if they do Zoom wherever she does her classes, but you know what I'm talking about. Never an excuse. There's always a way to do things. YouTube, you don't want to spend money? YouTube is the best.
This is where I learned, oftentimes he says, you know, all this stuff. No, I don't know all this stuff. I just go to YouTube and I just dig the information that I need. And often this is where I learn. And often they're young folks. And so again, it's just for me, that's common sense. But the fact here is use what's at your disposal. You don't have to spend money all the time to learn things. There's so much that you can do if you just kind of surround yourself with the right environment, the right tools to move forward. I wanted to acknowledge, for example, Lucy and Sylvie talked about some of their activities they need to increase is recruiting more and talk to more people, more prospecting. This is something we all have to do. In fact, I'm working on a project right now, right? I'm creating a whole new environment for TikTok and Instagram, which is completely isolated from what I've been building for the several years to do exactly that. That's going to be filtered prospects directly to my opportunity. So there's a lot of things that we're working on, and again, it's about the adjustment process and to stay congruent and consistent and keep evolving. So and Tammy put here the links. I really recommend folks that because we're so accessible, We may not look like we're a big deal, and we're not a big deal. My point I'm saying is that we have a lot of information, a lot of experience, especially in the industry of network marketing. We know what works, what doesn't work. I get phone calls from CEOs, and they're asking me for feedback. For the reason is we've been I'm 58 now. I'm realizing that I'm not 25 anymore. We have years in baggage of knowledge, of experience that's been repeated over time. And often they ask me a question. The answer is so obvious to me because I've done it 1,000 times. And I know that if you do that, it's not going to work. If you do that, you're going to waste your money. If you do that, you will make money. So again, there's some things that we can help you with. So take advantage of this knowledge because we're accessible to you. These links are there for you. Do take advantage of it. But if you do book an appointment, folks, make sure that it's productive in something that will be in line with what it is we just talked about here today and designing the perfect life for you. Now, at the end of the day, the outcome of the last aspect that we talked about setting goals and smart goals, is you'll find that you are going to prioritize the activities that you do in line with what you're planning. And you're going to block times that will avoid you utilizing time and doing things that are not in line, that are not productive. You can utilize some wonderful tools. Now, that's again, maybe none of these tools are applicable to you, but I like to use Evernote. Tammy is not a fan of it. I love it because Evernote, I have about almost 10 years, I think 10 years of trainings and content, everything, courses. When I go in, I bring my iPad, everything is typed in, everything is in there. I take picture. It's all in that app. And there's other things that I use on a regular basis. I like iCal. Some of you like the Microsoft version, whatever that is, the Hotmail or um, I forgot what it's called. Anyway, so the point I'm saying is find the tools that works well for you and adapt them. Something I love is boards. I love boards. This has simplified my life so much. And people are saying, my God, there's so much. Yes, there is. And that's the system in place. We have our websites, we have our things, we have our backup systems. Everything is in place for us to be able to store stuff and have access to these things, right? And then you're going to become more efficient. You're more focused. Overall, you'll end up being more productive and you'll find that you'll start reaching your goals, and you'll still have time to watch TV or spend time with your significant other or spend time with your kids going on vacation. Even while you're in vacation, because of today's range of cell phones, you can pretty much go anywhere and still be productive a few moments a day if you need to still be plugged in. So that's what happens when you organize and you have goals and you're structured in your daily activities. So that's kind of the topic that we wanted to cover here today. So tell me, as we end this session, what are your last comments on the subject today?
Well, there's a lot that was shared, and we'll continue that because there's 4 weeks of learning
Mhm.
and to create that success. So I recommend to start going through this stuff, and you have the document now, and just start planning your stuff. Plan it and review it. What is that? Plan, do, review. Plan, do, review, and that's when you're gonna grow from this.
So on week 2, what Tammy and I are going to be covering, so you have an idea, is going to be on leadership and influence. I'm not sure if next week we're going to be doing it. It's possible that I may invite Jonathan.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
see the time that he needs. And because I want to focus on that, it might be a shorter call for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So you guys can get an update on where he's up to and with our products availability, with some of the changes they're doing on the sites, and to facilitate our work as we keep evolving with Max, for example. So that's going to be next Monday. And he did confirm with me that he will be available. But just so you know that week 2 may not be done next week, might be the week after, but it'll be about leadership and influence. And I hope you'll be there. And don't come alone, folks. Try to, if you have one person in your team, or maybe someone is on the fence or whatever that may be, ask them to come in because they may learn something. So again, it's just food for thought. So
And you
really,
got
thank you.
13 days, you guys. Just sorry for cutting you off, Chris, but you got 13 days with this promo. I highly
Oh
recommend. It's
yeah,
a
the promo.
great way
Thank
to
you.
get back to the people that you haven't talked to in a while and just let them know about the promo. Most people don't check their emails. So get back to people. It's a way to reconnect with people that may have been on the product for a long time ago, and you can have a conversation. There, people are blown away. $50 a bottle. So we've
Oh
been
yeah.
able to get quite a few people now. But you got to spend the time doing it. You don't want to do it the last 3 days because some people need time to plan to move money around. And if you wait last minute, they're gonna lose, and they're gonna be frustrated that you told them 2 days before the thing was finished, right? The promo was finished. So yeah, that's another thing I wanted to mention.
No, it's really good. So there's something I wanted to mention, but yeah. Anyway, that's the promo. Yeah, that's what I would mention. I've received a call from Max saying, "Hey, there's a lot of sales that's current on in Canada right now." Well, let's see. I think people are kind of stocking up on their Saljuity. $50 a bottle. It's a great, phenomenal deal. So I recommend that we bring more things like that, and let's encourage the market. Let's give the team, the people, a bit of a break by having these things. It's people. It's well received. So. The company's listening. They're applying. So stay the course. Keep moving forward. And I hope you guys are going to start working within your goals and reaching the desired life that you want in line to what we talked about here today. Because I'm telling you, it will make a difference in your life. So have yourself a great evening, folks. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you, and thanks for participating. Those of you that have a chance to comment. Okay, bye everybody.